happened so far.
What if I say that no benefit cuts is what President Trump is saying? So then that would mean
taxpayers' money. Nobody's paid into it. That's their money.
Right, exactly. So what we could do is say have a billionaire like Elon Musk pay the same rate as everyone else into Social Security, and then you can make it solvent. You could actually increase benefits.
But everything's got to be on the table,
including cuts at this point.
No, I wouldn't cut the benefits,
yeah.
But it's going to be some adjustments going to have to be made.
Thank you so much. We're hoping that we could get members of the DOGE Caucus to take this pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare. So we're out here. Representative, could we ask you to take this pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare? So we're out here asking members of the DOGE Caucus. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene just walked by. She did not acknowledge the pledge to stand with President Trump. Some members have acknowledged, somewhat that they're going to stand against benefit cuts. And at the same time, they're saying that everything is on the table as well. And I'd just like to translate that in Washington, D.C., when somebody says something's on the table, what that means is they're going to cut that. They're going to it's really easy to get the caucus members, the DOGE caucus members, to take a pledge just standing with President Trump. They're primarily Representative, can we ask you to take a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare?
I don't really do pledges. I do what's best for my constituents.
Would you be willing to stand with President Trump? So let me explain a little bit of how a caucus works. So first, this is not an effort in this room where they're going to actually have any authority to make the cuts. But by joining the caucus, you're sort of showing your numbers of how many people are going to stand with this effort. And it's true that the DOGE effort has not been fully defined yet, which is why we are trying to ensure that it is defined in line with the promises that President Trump made during the campaign. That we feel, since this is an effort that President Trump is pulling together with the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, that it's an easy ask to ask the members of the caucus to just stand with President Trump. And in fact, if they're not going to, I feel like they're not listening to the warnings that President Trump made to not touch Social Security and Medicare. So we're going to just keep asking members of the caucus as they come in. Sir, can we get a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare benefits?
I think, you know what, when we look to reduce our national debt, I think these should be on the table.
Okay.
So I am a strong advocate of discussing this and reevaluating them. And I do believe at the end of the day, there will be some cuts.
There are cuts to Social Security and Medicare.
Yes.
And that's on the table in the DOGE caucus right now.
Well, we're about to find out.
Okay. Thank you so much. So there you have a member of the DOGE committee, the DOGE caucus, fully supporting cuts to Social Security and Medicare, ignoring the president. Sir, I was hoping we could get a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare. Hi. Sir, I was hoping we could get a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare. So the caucus co-chair, Representative Pete Sessions, walked by without pledging to stand with the president against cuts to Social Security and Medicare. We've had a smattering. Most of the responses have been what I would say are no comments. That's the safest position for a member of Congress, is to have no position that they have to defend in front of their constituents. If they had their way, they'll close every door and make all the decisions out of the light and the watch of their constituents. You did hear one member of Congress who said, I definitely want to cut Social Security and Medicare benefits, which is why they generally like to have these discussions behind closed doors, because 90% of the American people, including Republicans, fully oppose any cuts to Social Security benefits, which makes sense since we pay for our Social Security. There's not a single person in this room who's given a penny of dollars to people's Social Security. It's our money. So that's why the pledge, pledging to not cut Social Security and Medicare makes so much sense. This isn't a program that adds to the deficit. Social Security is a self-financed program. We pay for our own benefits, and then it's there for us when we need it. So if a member of Congress cuts our benefits, sir, I was hoping we could get you to take a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare. So we're getting a lot of walking by, and the business will start pretty soon. It seems to get down to the brass tacks of how they're going to cut benefits and use this caucus as a vehicle to steal the American people's earned benefits. And again, I just reiterate that there is not a single dollar that is going into people's Social Security benefits that's coming from anyone in this room. These members of Congress did not give us our Social Security. We give us our Social Security. Sir, I was hoping we could get a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare benefits. So I'll review the tape, but I think we're about 90% no comments. One full yes, Social Security benefits are on the table, and a few unclear, but seemingly saying they would take a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts being included in the discussion of the DOGE effort. So as we're just continuing here, I'm going to hold up again. What we've got is actually a mailer from President Trump sent to millions of households this election that says that Republicans will fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare benefits with no cuts, including the retirement age. Sir, I was hoping that we could get you to take a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare. So I do understand that the Republican members of Congress are put into this difficult position for themselves because the only plan that they have in that room is to cut our Social Security benefits. But President Trump, sir, I was hoping we could get you to take a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare as part of the DOGE effort. Hi. I was hoping we could get you to take a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare benefits.
I absolutely will. That's why I'm in the room, to stand against cuts to Social Security and Medicare. That's exactly why I'm here.
So Representative Hoyle is taking a firm stance against cuts to Social Security or Medicare. Sir, could we get you to take a pledge with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare?
Of course. Anybody who thinks we're going to cut Social Security and Medicaid or Medicare is just trying to inflame the American public. They're not telling the truth. This is not what it's about. It is about rooting out waste, abuse, and fraud and bringing efficiencies, and there's a lot of it. And some of the representatives, like the one you just talked to, hates the idea of draining the swamp, and we're going to drain the swamp.
So is that you pledge not to cut Social Security and Medicare benefits in line with what President Trump has said as part of the DOGE effort?
100%. Absolutely, I make that pledge. On the same note, though, when there's overpayments, when there's payments going out to those who are ineligible, when there's waste, abuse, and fraud, the American people want to see that rooted out. So all areas we will focus on bringing efficiencies and rooting out waste, abuse, and fraud, but absolutely no reductions to Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare.
What about
legitimate fund of Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security?
What about Medicare Advantage overpayments that are around $1.4 trillion over 10 years, or $890 billion
Right.
if you're using CBO numbers?
Well, obviously, we want to eliminate that.
Yeah, eliminate the overpayments to Medicare Advantage.
We want to make payments in accordance with the law, in accordance with those who are eligible to receive them. So I don't know if you're trying to do some fancy.
No, it's just they're called overpayments on the government books.
that's right.
So I am all for
Overpayments are waste, abuse, and fraud.
Great.
And there are actually laws that we are working on modernizing legislation to focus on exactly that, on overpayments and the recovery. That, by the way, the agencies were supposed to be doing since 2010, and most of them haven't, particularly since most of them haven't even been in the office for the last 5 years.
Thank you so much.
All right.
So we're getting a few more. I missed a few as they walked in. Hi, I was hoping that we could get you to take a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare as part of this DOGE effort.
Let's get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse.
Is that a yes to the pledge against cuts to Social Security and Medicare? It wasn't a yes. Hi, Congressman. I was hoping that we could get a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare. This is a mailing from President Trump. I was hoping we could get you to sign on to this pledge against cuts to Social Security and Medicare. 1, 2, 3, no comments. And just in the hurly-burly of Congress, there's literally nothing that makes a lot of members sort of more uncomfortable than when the American people come to their meetings, which they believe they have the right and privilege to do behind closed doors. But what we believe is that when you're literally talking about reaching your hand into my pocket and stealing my money that I've earned, my Social Security benefits, you have no right to do that in private behind closed doors. This is the people's hallway that we're standing in right now. Every single member of Congress behind those doors works for the American people. The American people are united in saying, absolutely, sir, could we get a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare? I don't know. I'll count it up. But cowardice is actually the currency of the day when it comes to most of how Congress works. You know, there are some great people here, but generally you're going to get a lot of no comments. You're going to get a lot of silence because they want to do their planning out of view from the American people, especially on issues like cutting Social Security and Medicare, where you're talking 90% of Republicans oppose cuts to Social Security benefits. 90%. So it's the constituents of the members in the room. Sir, I was hoping that we could get a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare as part of the DOGE effort.
I've been very vocal that we can't cut Social Security. Very vocal.
Very vocal. So we have, I don't know, I'll count up the numbers. We have a few members who are adamantly saying no cuts to Social Security or Medicare. We have others who are saying definitely it's on the table. And then we have the majority saying nothing. What about cuts to Social Security and Medicare? Can we get you to pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare? We got another absolutely. So, I don't know, 12% standing with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare. They're going to find themselves in a pretzel, because what the point of that caucus and that committee that'll be coming is to cut Social Security and Medicare. it's based on a lie, an important lie to understand. But if you look at the charts that say Elon Musk, the richest person in the history of the world now, I think, when he crossed 400, but at least the richest person in the world right now, he tweets out an image, and it has Social Security as a part of the federal budget, like the government gives us Social Security, and it's set up saying, look, this is the most money, so we have to go after Social Security if we're going to find any, savings. But the lie is that Social Security is not given to us by any member of Congress. It's not appropriated and authorized as part of the budget. It's a self-financed system, which everyone who is watching knows. You see it coming out of your paycheck. Every 2 weeks, this is our money we're talking about. So if a member of Congress is going to come in and propose these benefit cuts, then they're just reaching their hand into our pocket and stealing our money. Yeah, he's on the stand. So we'll continue to ask people as they come up if they'll take the pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare, which, again, what we're handing out is this mailing that President Trump used throughout the campaign that says that there will be no cuts to Social Security and Medicare benefits, including raising the retirement age. So I don't want to be rude to the people down the hall, so I'll be a little bit more quiet. But we could also just tune into can you hear them or no? I was hoping we could get a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare benefits. Sir, I was hoping we could get a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare benefits. So the closed door is also emblematic of these efforts. When members of Congress want to do things like talk about and strategize how to cut Social Security and Medicare benefits, they definitely are going to do it outside of the light of day. There's a whole regular order that members of Congress can use. They can discuss these in committees. You don't need a special effort. You don't need a DOGE effort led by the richest man in the world. They could just propose this through their committees. Sir, I was hoping that we could get you to take a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare benefits. Right here. So, again, I'll tally up and we'll put online. We'll match to our Facebooks, but obviously we got a very strong. I was hoping we could get you to take a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare benefits. There's a lot of people who don't understand somewhat the strategy of being out here, no matter what. Sir? I actually don't know if he's going into DOGE or not. They don't understand that, and a lot of it makes sense because a lot of the staff, for example, working on an effort like this, they weren't in Congress when we defeated the first commission that we defeated a decade and a half ago, called the Bowles-Simpson Commission, or the 7 commissions that have happened since then. And so I'll lay out for people, including the staff who work for the members who are in here, there's nothing as unpopular, nothing as proposing Social Security benefit cuts. It's the shortest walk to the unemployment line for a member of Congress and everyone who works for them. All that we need to do is highlight that that's what they're talking about behind that closed door, and it makes it impossible for them to pull it off because they will run into the whipsaw of public anger and outrage that anyone would propose from this, using the authority of Congress to, hey, how's it going? Yeah. Are you headed in? Headed in. And I was wondering if we could get a pledge. You're going to run into people behind you. Where do you want me? So all that we have to do is continue. The first time I defeated a commission, live streaming was very new. And so I just stood outside the closed door of the Bowles-Simpson Commission every single week for 1 hour, 2 hours, however long they met. And on the way in and on the way out, I asked the members of Congress if they were going to cut Social Security and Medicare benefits. And, you know, at first they were pretty confident that that annoying guy was not going to make any difference and you could just ignore him and walk by. That was just when I had a camera on my phone, and now we actually have an incredible coalition of organizations dedicated to defeating any effort to cut even a penny from our earned benefits. And all we have to do is get this information out to the constituents of every member in that room, especially the ones who were like, yes, I'm going to cut Social Security benefits, or those who walked by with no comment, and explain to them that that's what's at stake, that this DOGE effort has one goal, and it's to steal our earned benefits, to reach their hands into our pockets and take our Social Security benefits. And when the people learn this, they start calling into their members of Congress. They start lighting up their phones, sending in faxes, still in vogue here on the Hill, setting up meetings. We'll have fly-ins. I think the proposal is that we have till July 2026 is when the DOGE effort will be over, and I predict that they cry uncle on benefit cuts in the first quarter of 2025. The starting point of having incoming Republican President Donald Trump stating clearly in his campaign materials, in these promises, that in the platform, that there will be no Social Security and Medicare benefit cuts, including raising the retirement age. You know, when you put that up against the comments that you're seeing Republicans in this effort make on TV, or Senator Mike Lee on the other side of the Hill, saying that they're definitely going to cut Social Security benefits, they're going to raise the retirement age, which is just a 7% benefit cut for every year that it goes up. That's the position that we're going to put them in, is defending going against President Donald Trump, going against their own constituents, and then it demands the answer to the question of who are they working for then? Who is driving their agenda? If it's not the people who elected them to office, if it's not the president and leader of their own party, then who is driving their agenda? And I can answer that. It's Wall Street. It's Wall Street billionaires who don't want to pay the same rate into Social Security that the rest of us do. Because we all know that if billionaires like Elon Musk paid into Social Security at the same rates as the rest of us, then there would be no issue at all. Hi, are you going into the DOGE caucus? It's right here. And I was hoping that you could take this pledge to stand against cuts with President Trump. So I'm putting that one up as another no comment. One of my favorite moments from the Bowles-Simpson era was when I would stand outside and Paul Ryan would come out. And every time Paul Ryan would come out, I would ask him whether he was going to be cutting Social Security and Medicare benefits. And he started running away from me jogging down the hall. So I have all this footage of Paul Ryan just running away from me down the hall. Congressman, I'm hoping that we can count on you to stand against cuts to Social Security and Medicare in there. So, unfortunately, we have 3 Democrats who've joined the DOGE effort, and their strategy is to be in the room so that their voices are heard against cuts to Social Security and Medicare. It's not diametrically opposed with our strategy of exposing the effort, but it is not what will win. What will win is not being in that room. What will win is exposing the discussions in that room to the light of day, to the American people, and making it clear that there's no way we're going to let members of Congress cut our Social Security benefits. It's an incredibly high bar to go against the will of 90% of your constituents. And all we're going to have to do is continue to be out here. Every time the caucus does anything, we're going to be there. Every single time there's an effort. Next year in the next Congress, they'll have to create a select committee where they impanel and empower the effort. And we'll be there at every turn. I'm just looking at the time because I'm hoping that if I talk long enough, we'll get all the members on their way out as well. So I'm going to just keep explaining the strategy here. We're hoping that Democrats boycott the caucus, engage with the effort in any way that they want, but boycott becoming a member of the caucus. So we did see Representative Horsford, who has not, he's not on the official tracker as a member of the caucus yet. I've encouraged Democratic members to actually just crash the caucus meeting. So hopefully that's what's going on. We don't think that being a voice on the inside of a caucus that is clearly set up. You can read what Elon Musk, what the richest man in the world has said, that the point of the work is. So when they say waste, fraud, and abuse, it is a meaningless 3 words, and it's just to hide the deeply unpopular cuts that they are proposing. If we want to talk about how you actually find savings in the budget, it's simple, super simple. Okay, so watch. They say they want to find $2 trillion in savings. Every single year, the U.S. government overpays corporate insurers who've privatized parts of Medicare between $89 and $1.4 billion every single year. These are literally classified as overpayments by the Congressional Budget Office, right? So everything we're talking about is you just multiply it by 10. It's a 10-year budget window. So we're talking between $890 billion and $1.4 trillion just by eliminating the part of our budget that's called overpayments to corporate health insurers like United Health. These are corporate insurance companies that make their money by delaying and denying care. You eliminate those overpayments, you're almost 3/4 of the way there. You can get trillions of dollars more by just going after the pharmaceutical corporations who we have the highest drug prices in the world. We pay to develop the drugs, and then they turn around and charge us the highest prices in the world. We fought tooth and nail to get Medicare to be able to negotiate lower drug prices, which saves people money, but also the federal government. Here, they're going to come out, so I'm going to try to get some on the way out, too. I think I talked to you on the way going in.
Happy to take the pledge.
Yes, and if you have anything that you'd like to say.
But yeah, you should be aware, and I'm happy to say this, I'm not disclosing anything that's confidential, but when they started the meeting, they specifically said the goal of this caucus is not to cut any benefits to Social Security or Medicare.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, but I'm happy to take the pledge as an individual member.
So you see that they're talking from the front of the room that they're not going to cut Social Security and Medicare, which I count as a very good thing. I want that. I want them to have to say that. They're definitely saying it because there's an annoying guy out in the hall asking each member to take a pledge against those cuts. But that's why we'll stay here. And I'd ask for my line from Will here, but I can't remember where I was on discussing before Representative Moskowitz came out.
That was breaking news.
It was breaking news that in the DOGE caucus, they said that they were not, the effort was not to cut Social Security and Medicare benefits. Hi. I don't think I got you on the way in. If I could ask for a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare? Hi. I was hoping I could get you to take a pledge to stand with President Trump against cuts to Social Security and Medicare. So we're going to be out here asking members on their way out, just like we did on the way in. And I want to... Oh, I remember where I was, wasting time to keep the live stream up. So when we get Medicare to negotiate drug prices, we had to fight pharma. So we're back live, standing here outside the DOGE Caucus, the first meeting of the DOGE Caucus, asking members of the caucus to take a pledge against cuts to Social Security and Medicare, in line with the promise that President Trump made during the campaign. I don't have the numbers with me yet, but the majority of members of the caucus are no commenting. Some have said full support for cuts to Social Security and Medicare. One very adamantly. We were also, and a few who are saying that they're definitely against the cuts. And we also learned that from the front of the room, when they set the caucus going, they said it's not an effort to cut Social Security and Medicare. which is at odds with all of the public media that members have been doing, where they've absolutely been saying this is, we're going to have to get Democrats on board, we're going to have to cut Social Security and Medicare, that's where all the money is. I was going through where the actual money is, which is the American people getting ripped off, private insurers in privatized Medicare, so-called Medicare Advantage. You got $1.5 trillion there. By the pharmaceutical corporations, you're talking trillions of dollars if you just do all drugs at the best price right away. And then something that I'm not an expert on, but I know enough, is you talk about the contractors that are ripping off the taxpayers through defense contracts, and you're talking about trillions more in savings that you could actually do that would improve government functioning without hurting a single person. And in fact, it would help. The American people would have less delays and denials if we reined in privatized Medicare. The American people would have lower drug prices if we negotiated more prescription drug prices. I have to tell you, I've done this enough to just confidently predict that that is not what this caucus and the commission that's coming next year are going to propose, even though on Medicare Advantage it's literally labeled overpayments, which is a hilarious way of saying we're too wimpy to stop getting ripped off by United Health. Right now, Dr. Oz, who is being nominated to head CMS, has said is that it's full speed on privatizing Medicare. So as much putting United Health in charge of as much. I was hoping we could talk about that pledge to not cut Social Security and Medicare benefits. Do you want to? I might walk with some people as I go. Hi. Oh, thanks. I was hoping we could get a pledge to not cut Social Security and Medicare benefits.
There are no plans to cut Social Security.
But can we take it off the table? That's what I am asking members of the caucus, to take it off the table in line with